Okay, so traits. This is the first of the character creation type stuff. Traits are there's three of PCs have three of them. They'll have identity, theme, and origin. Identity, they refer to it as a short sentence, but the example ones they give aren't really sentences, they're more titles. Some examples they give are like elderly amnesiac sorcerer, freedom fighting brawler, tormented veteran, one eyed samurai, magitech scientist. They're basically um, core concept statements, is what they are. There is a list of random tables to roll on if you're having troubles thinking of one. And while my Harpy idea came out of watching a lot of Owl House, I did do some rolling on this and I came to the combination of Tainted Princess looking for answers. And it can give you some ideas of where you want to go from that. So that is identity. Theme is your primary ideal or emotion driving your actions. There are some example ones. Their example ones are ambition, anger, belonging, doubt, duty, guilt, hope, justice, mercy, and vengeance. And these are like dominating narrative themes to your character. So somebody who's belonging will be have a very important story trend of wanting to fit in and be part of a group and have friends and be protecting those friends. Somebody who has guilt is somebody who's going to be try to atone for their past mistakes. Somebody who doubts is trying to find the answer to a burning question. Ambition, you want to prove yourself to somebody else. Uh, Ideally, every PC is a hero at this point. At the point they become a PC, so you may have some former villains, but they're already had the point, the revelation that they were doing terrible things, and um, they want to fix that. So even if you're playing something like a Darkblade or the Necromancer free bonus material class, you're still going to be a hero. You're just going to be a dark hero. Then you have origin, which is basically just where you're from. It might be the particular palace or the Sylvalite Woods, which I just sort of made up at random, the Avatar Temple, or the Elquist Mountains, or any sort of things. You just make it up. You're going to probably use some of the countries you make up when you're designing the world with your other friends, or you might add in a new country to the world. But that is where you're from. These all kind of act like the NPCs also have traits. They're going to be less specific definition. You don't have like identity, theme, origin, but you have a list of, a lot of the monsters have like a list of 4. Let me see. So like typical traits for the Cactroll would be creepy, hulking, territorial, water sensitive. Giant rat, afraid of fire, fast, hungry, vicious. They're basically just notes on general concepts or things that are true about the character. These can be invoked to spend Fabula points or Ultima points for villains. Most common, we'll get to villains later, but common monsters don't have Ultima points. These can be invoked to spend Fabula points for rerolls, as we've seen. These are also going to be what you look for as, do they have a relevant background? So like my Harpy character, getting over a flooded river is not going to be a problem for Harpy. She just flies over. So I would not have to roll for that. That's a relevant background. If it was very, very windy, then I would have to make the roll and I might fall into the river and away I go. But so these kind of serve as ways to guideline us to decide when a particular person should make a roll or not. What they are good at already, what they should have to roll for, what they have a chance to roll for, because this is going to verify, like somebody from the Origami Desert is going to know things about the Origami Desert just automatically. Yes, I said Origami Desert, sorry. But they're not going to know about things in the Sevelier Woods, perhaps, for example. Um, anyway, there are ways. There's a study skill you can. There's a study action you can take to learn things about um, monsters or NPCs, and sometimes in order to use some skills, you need to either already know traits about a target, or knowing traits about the target make things give you a bonus. These again very similar to Fate Aspects or City of Mist power tags, and a lot of other game systems have used things like this. I'm going to go back to Fate Aspects because City of Mist power tags are basically Fate Aspects. Fate is kind of I don't think it is the first narrative game. I mean, there's Fudge, which led directly to Fate for one thing, but Fudge and Fate are definitely the big starter point that I can point to say this is where a lot of narrative mechanics come from, because a lot of the way that Fate approaches traits, aspects, things that are true is stuff that other games do. Storypath does it in Scion 2E. Monster of the Week does it to a certain degree. Not as loose as not quite the same, but has some of the similar ideas. Power Tags in City Mist definitely does it. Actually, Monster of the Week you probably don't do it this way. There are similar things like flight. You can fly. There are moves that set this is a thing that is true and don't require a roll. So in that regards, it does do some things like Fate Aspects, but not nearly to the same degree. It has narrative in other directions, and I've gone on a tangent. But yeah, that's traits.